Hi everyone. I think all of you are keeping fine and safe. Today we can discuss a new topic, that is Biot-Savart's law, and it gives the relation between magnetic field and current. Biot-Savart law. For this, consider a current carrying conductor. It is assume it as a current carrying conductor, and whatever may be its shape, it is not a problem, and it has a uniform area of cross section. And let I be the current flowing through this. I is the current flowing through this conductor. And we are considering a small element dl on this conductor. And we know when the current is flowing through a conductor, a magnetic field is produced near to it. So, here we are considering a point P. And we have to find out what is the magnetic field at this point due to this small element dl. And we are assuming that r is the distance between dl and P. And according to Biot-Savart law, it states that the magnitude of magnetic field is directly proportional to the current passing through it, then directly proportional to the small element, and directly proportional to sine of the angle between dl and r, and it is inversely proportional to square of the distance between dl and r, and it is directed perpendicular to the plane containing dl and r, and we can represent it in mathematical form. For this, the small magnetic field at P, that we can represent as dB, because magnetic field generally we represented with B. Small magnetic field is with dB. That is proportional to I. I means the current flowing through it. Then dB proportional to the small element dl. The small element dl. And theta is the angle between this dl and r is the theta. Then it is directly proportional to sine of the angle between dl and r. So it is directly proportional to sine theta, and this dB is inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. And we know the distance is r, then square of the distance means it is r square. So, dB proportional to 1 by r square. Now, we can combine all this and written as dB proportional to I dl sine theta by r square. So, from here also we can understand dB is proportional to current I, directly proportional to dl, directly proportional to sine theta, and inversely proportional to this r square. Now we have to remove this proportional sign. For that we have to multiply it with a constant. Then the equation becomes dB equal to mu 0 by 4 pi. We are multiplying it with a constant mu 0 by 4 pi. Then mu 0 by 4 pi I dl sine theta divided by r square. So our equation is dB equal to mu 0 by 4 pi I dl sine theta by r square. This equation for magnitude of magnetic field we get. Okay. And in the previous chapter, we have studied one equation for Coulomb's law. That was F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square. It's equation for Coulomb's law. And the magnetic field, from our Biot-Savart law, we get the equation for magnetic field dB equal to mu 0 by 4 pi I dl sin theta by R square. And here we have to compare these two equations. This is one of the important question for our exam. They are asked to write what are the similarities and what are the difference between this Coulomb's law and Biot-Savart law. Okay, and we know this force from Coulomb's law. This force depends on charge. Then charge means it is a scalar quantity. And this magnetic field depends on current I, that is a vector quantity. So, Coulomb's law depends on a scalar quantity, but our Biot-Savart law, it depends on a vector quantity. That is the first difference. And the second point, here we can see in our Biot-Savart law, there is a angle dependence. This depending on the angle, but it is not there in our Coulomb's law. And the next thing is that our Coulomb's law, direction of this force is, it is directed along the line joining between these two charges. But in case of our Biot-Savart law, its direction of magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane containing our dl and r. These are the difference between the Coulomb's law and this Biot-Savart law. And there are some similarities also. They are, here we can see, here the F is proportional to 1 by R square, isn't it? And here also this dB is proportional to 1 by R square. That means both obeys inverse square law. That is one of the similarity. And the other similarity is both obeys superposition principle. So these are the similarities for this Coulomb's law and Biot-Savart law. Okay. Our next topic is magnetic field on the axis of a circular loop. For this, we are considering a circular loop of radius r. Let this be the circular loop, and through this a current I is flowing through this. A current of I is flowing through the circular loop. And we can take the radius as r. R is the radius of the circular loop. And we know the axis means a straight line passing through its center. So here we can draw it. And on any point on this axis, we have to find out what is the magnetic field due to this circular loop. For this, we are considering a point P on the axis, and let it be a distance of x from center of the loop. X is the distance from center to P. And we are considering a small element of length dl. dl is the small element, and due to that small element dl, first we want to find out what is the magnetic field at this point. So we can draw a line like this, and we can take the distance as small letter r. So capital letter R is the radius of circular loop, X is the distance from center to the point P, and R is the distance between DL and this point P. Then using this Biot-Savart law, what is the magnetic field that we can write as dB equal to mu 0 by 4 pi IdL divided by R square. Here I don't write this sin theta because here this dl and r are perpendicular at that point. At that point the dl and r perpendicular. So our theta is 90 degree and we know the value of sin theta, it is sin 90, it is 1. So I am omitting this term sin theta. Then the equation is mu 0 by 4 pi IdL by r square. That is the magnetic field due to the small element dl on this point P. And we know the direction of magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane containing dl and r. So we can represent it as dB like this. And we have studied about one resolution of vectors, isn't it? If there is a vector, we can make it into two components. One is along the horizontal direction and other one is vertical component. So here we can write it as, it is our dBx, that means the component on the horizontal direction. And dB perpendicular is the perpendicular component of our dB. And now we have taken the magnetic field due to this small element dl. Suppose we are taking one more element on this point as dl and we are taking this magnitude, then we get it as, its direction is like this because here the direction of current is upwards, but on here it becomes downwards. So the direction of magnetic field is like this dB, and here also when we are resolving it into two components, we get dBx in this direction and perpendicular is in the downward direction. So from here we can understand this dB perpendicular and here also one more dB perpendicular, both are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So they get cancelled. So we have to take only the horizontal component. When we are taking the magnetic field, we have to take only the horizontal component because the vertical component become cancelled due to the diametrically opposite component. If I am taking this component here, then its opposite, one component is here, and due to that, the perpendicular component is cancelled out. So here we want to take this dBx only. So we can write dB, magnitude of dB equal to magnitude of dBx. And we can take this angle as theta. And we know this dBx is dB cos theta, isn't it? Along the x-axis it is cos theta. Then it is equal to dB cos theta. And from here we get what is dB. That we have already written what is dB. And now we want to calculate what is the cos theta from here. So we know the theta, this angle it is theta, and total this angle it is 180, isn't it? On this portion, this one it is 90 degree. This angle is 90 degree and this one is theta. Then what is this angle? It may be 90 minus theta, isn't it? This one becomes 90 minus theta. And we know this one it is perpendicular and this angle becomes theta. So we get this angle as our theta. Then now we want to calculate what is cos theta from this triangle. Then what is our cos theta? Cos theta equal to, it is adjacent side by hypotenuse. So it becomes r by r, that is capital letter R divided by small letter r. Then here we can substitute it. And this dB, it becomes mu 0 by 4 pi I dl by r square. Then instead of cos theta, we want to write this r by r. So here we can take this r square and r together and we can write it as mu 0 by 4 pi I dl r divided by r square into r, it is r cube. Okay, then it is equal to mu 0 by 4 pi I dl r divided by, this r can be, we can replace it with r is equal to r square plus x square all raised to half. That is our r equal to r square plus x square all raised to half. Because we know this r is our hypotenuse, then this r square equal to r square plus x square. And if you are taking r, it is r square plus x square all raised to half. Then on substituting here, we get it as r square plus x square all raised to 3 by 2. Because it is 1 by 2 into 3. Then it becomes 3 by 2. And the next thing we want to do it is, this mu 0 by 4 pi I dl r divided by r square plus x square all raised to 3 by 2 that we got, and it is the magnetic field at any point on its axis. And suppose we want to calculate the total magnetic field. Now we are taking only the magnetic field due to this small element dl. Now we want the total magnetic field due to the circular loop. Okay, then when we are doing this, we want to integrate this one. Then we get it as B equal to, total magnetic field equal to mu 0 by 4 pi. We know this is constant and we want to integrate the remaining terms. Then it becomes I dl r divided by r square plus x square raised to 3 by 2. And when we are integrating, we want to take the constant outside. We know this r is radius and this r is radius and x is the distance from center to the point P. And this I is a constant current that is flowing through the loop. So the only changing quantity, it is dl. So we want to integrate that dl. Then the equation becomes B equal to mu 0 by 4 pi I r divided by r square plus x square raised to 3 by 2 into integral dl. dl means the length. We want to integrate the length throughout the circular loop. So what is the total length or what is the circumference of this circular loop? It is 2 pi r, isn't it? Here the radius is r. So integral dl, it becomes 2 pi r. Then we can write it as mu 0 by 4 pi I r into 2 pi r divided by r square plus x square raised to 3 by 2. Then on looking this, we can cancel this 2 pi and here is 1 4 pi. So it becomes, here it becomes 2. And we know this, there is 1 r into r. So we can write it as mu 0 I r square divided by 2 into r square plus x square raised to 3 by 2. It is the magnetic field produced by the circular loop on the axial line. So the equation is B is equal to mu 0 I r square divided by 2 into r square plus x square all raised to 3 by 2. And on knowing the value of x, we can call x, r and I. We can calculate what is the magnetic field on this point P. Okay. Then suppose we want to calculate the magnetic field due to the circular loop at the center of this loop. Then what may be our x? X becomes 0, isn't it? The distance is becomes 0. Then we can write it as x equal to 0. Then substitute that on here. We get it as B is equal to mu 0 I r square divided by 2r square 2 into r square. Then this x square becomes 0. Then r square all raised to 3 by 2. Then we can cancel this 2 and this 2 from here. Then our equation is mu 0 I r square divided by 2r cube. Then again we can cancel r square from both numerator and denominator. Then it becomes mu 0 I by 2r. So at the center of the circular loop, magnetic field is mu 0 I by 2r. So that's the magnetic field at the center of the loop. And if we want to find out the magnetic field at any point on the axis, we can use the equation B is equal to mu 0 I r square divided by 2 into r square plus x square raised to 3 by 2. Okay.